Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, and in this video we're going to be talking about a topic that's really come across my mind over the last few days, and that is optimizing longevity in PC gaming. Now, I'm primarily speaking on hardware. This is a topic that always seems to come back around when talking about PC gaming, is how often to upgrade, and in this video I just want to assess how you should tackle that subject of when to upgrade, or for newcomers to PC gaming that are just looking to build their first PC, if you have that worry that you're gonna need to upgrade all the time, I want to cover a couple of points for you guys. And I feel like in this video I'm going to offer a very original take that a lot of people that debate this topic don't really take, but I want you guys to hear me out as somebody that's been playing a lot more games recently. I don't know why it is. This summer break, I've been more of a gamer rather than analyzing hardware. Don't get me wrong, I do have a great PC. I can play games at great settings and get great frame rates, but I've really been more so appreciating games for what they are, and I've come to the realization that a lot of the games that I am finding enjoyment in these days aren't even the games that are the best performing or even looking the best, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But let's start out with the subject of this video: optimizing longevity of your PC gaming. Pretty much milking your PC until the very end, getting the most out of it. And this is of course really great for those of you on a budget that can't be upgrading every year. You really want to get a PC and you want to keep it around for 4, 5, even 6 years, and that is possible as long as you tackle PC gaming the right way. And that brings me to my first point, and that when you're trying to optimize longevity out of your gaming PC, you have to define your goals. Now, for someone like me, I do like to play games at higher settings and higher frame rates, and I do like to play the newest games, but ask yourself, is that of utmost importance? Do you want to be playing games like Monster Hunter World? And not only play Monster Hunter World, because if you look at the minimum requirements of Monster Hunter World, that game's minimum requirements aren't anything to write home about, but do you want to play that game maxed out at say 1440p, or even playing the game at 4K, and you want to continually be doing that with the latest and greatest games? You want to do that with MH World, then you want to do that with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, then you want to do that with Fallout 76, and then you want to do that with games in 2019, games in 2020. Well, for someone like that, you're gonna have to upgrade often, and I think that goes without saying. If you're trying to get top of the end performance and visuals that far supersede the consoles at the highest resolutions, highest frame rates, well, of course you're gonna have to upgrade often, and if those are your lofty expectations, you probably are okay with upgrading often. However, to be perfectly honest, I don't think that's where the majority of gamers come from. Yes, it's very nice. You go on YouTube videos and you see these videos of games running at 4K and you think, man, I wish I could run these games at 4K, but how much does that really matter? Yes, it's nice to see all of these crazy 4K monitors. Yes, it's cool stuff, and I personally have a 4K monitor, but I'll be honest, I have more disposable income than a lot of you guys, especially if you're in high school. I understand that you can't be dropping $400 on a 4K monitor. I totally get that, and even for those of you that are a little bit older, you probably don't even want a 4K monitor, or you probably don't even want to invest that much money into gaming, and that's where I think the majority of people lie. Now, obviously, your budget is still gonna come into play. That majority of people, that's a large spectrum. You could have people that have a $400 budget for a PC, and good luck getting by with a $400 budget in today's climate, but things are getting better, so hopefully a $400 PC is going to be feasible in the near future. And then you have people that are closer to the $700, $800 range, and if you do drop $700 or $800, maybe you're thinking, I want to drop $700 or $800, but then I want to be good for a while. Now, at the end of the day, whether you drop $400, whether you drop $700 or $800, the performance in comparison to the best available hardware at that time is obviously going to deteriorate, but that doesn't mean that hardware can't run games. And what I've really come to understand is that, guys, low settings ain't that bad. I've really come to the realization that low settings, like, yes, the game doesn't look as good as it could be, but if you're playing the game at low settings and you get invested into the mechanics of the game, you can still find enjoyment of the game. Sure, there's those people out there that want to play games at the highest settings and the highest performance, but I've also noticed with those people, and I'm not just trying to put a blanket over every single people like this, but I do know people that buy really high-end PCs and then they'll re-buy games that they already own on consoles and they'll play them for 20 minutes, and then the novelty of the graphics just wear out very quickly. At the end of the day, no matter how good the visuals or performance are, if the game isn't good, no amount of high frame rates or no amount of pixel count is going to fix that fundamental problem. I was just disgusted, honestly disgusted at the idea of playing games at low settings, but it honestly ain't that bad. If you got lower end hardware and you're playing Monster Hunter World at low settings, guess what? You're saving a lot more money than a lot of people, and you could put that money into things that actually matter, like paying your rent. Things like that still do matter in 2018, and guess what? I commend you guys for being responsible adults. But at the same time, those of you guys playing the games at low settings, you are probably gonna get the same level of enjoyment as those of us playing the games at medium, high, or ultra high settings with 4K resolutions. Yes, fast, there's some nice bells and whistles to it, but at the end of the day, the game is the game, and there doesn't need to be this negative stigma attached to playing games at low settings, and I feel like there is a negative stigma attached to low settings. I mean, they're called minimum requirements after all. How does that sound if you reach the minimum requirements? Like, how does that make your PC sound? Oh, you can just achieve minimum requirements. That just sounds so negative, but it really isn't. Now, personally speaking, I would always like to be a step above minimum requirements because that means you still have some life in your PC, but just assess the minimum requirements of Monster Hunter World. That game's minimum requirements is a freaking GTX 760, a 760. How old is that GPU? So it's been, what, 4 years since the 7 series cards were released? It's been a very, very long time. Think about that. A 2014 GPU that you bought for $200 is still playing games in 2018. That is 4 years, and Monster Hunter World is one of the higher end games that is coming out. Actually analyze the game pool that is available to you as a PC gamer. The majority of these games don't actually take advantage of super high-end hardware. I would say 80% at least, and 80% is pretty conservative. It's probably closer to 90-95% of these games that are released on Steam, and bear in mind that there are fantastic games released in this 85, 90, 95%, whatever the number might be. Look at a game like Dead Cells. That's one of the best received games of 2018. Is that game gonna be using all the power of your GTX 1080? Nope. Are the games that don't maximize the power of your GPU? So if you're sitting on a lower end GPU, honestly, you're probably winning out as far as pure enjoyment goes for the money that you drop, because you're still playing all of these lower end games perfectly fine, when somebody like me that dropped a lot of money on a 1080, I'm playing these lower end games too. I'm playing them nearly identical to how you are. The only difference is I dropped $1,500 on my PC. You get where I'm coming at? Obviously, I do have the pleasure of playing some of the higher end games at better settings, but still, I also dropped a lot more money, and a lot of you guys don't want to drop that kind of money. And I want to get back to the point of longevity. How do you actually define longevity and how many years you're going to get out of your PC? Well, it all comes down to the actual games pool. Like I said, 80 to 95% of the upcoming games aren't going to maximize the highest end GPUs. That's just a fact. You look at the games coming up. Yes, there are the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the Monster Hunter World, Fallout 76, Battlefield 5. Those games, guess what, are still going to run on GPUs like GTX 760s and 770s. Not at best performance and best setting, but they will run at lower settings, and those GPUs are years upon years old. And again, when you actually assess the pool of games that are available to you as a PC gamer, if you just want sheer quantity of great PC games, if you're open-minded and you can play games across a wide variety of genres, again, games are coming out all the time that are so good and don't take much to run. Games like Dead Cells, a lot of the JRPGs, a lot of the indie games, these are really good games. Some of them look great. I have a friend that has a GTX 1070 Ti. Pretty good GPU, right? The only game he plays is Factorio, and he played the game so much that he got fired from his job. That is a real world story. I am not making that up. It's just funny, and I thought I would share that with you guys. And I'll always jokingly bust his balls about that, but the same can go for me. I have a GTX 1080, and one of the primary games I play is Hearthstone. Yes, let's say if I had a GTX 560 and I knew that some games were locked away from me, that would feel kind of bad, but at the same time, that pool is ever evolving, ever growing, and then you throw in emulators in it, and that pool just explodes, and there's literally tens of thousands of games to play. And if you just want great games to play, that pool is gigantic, and that's really how you're gonna optimize longevity. For those of you worried about the fact that you might have to upgrade all the time, people that are even picking up a GTX 1070 hit me up and ask me, am I gonna have to upgrade soon? Again, that's gonna come down to you. If you're just looking to play great games, if you're not too picky about specific graphic choices, if you're okay with playing games at lower settings, these GPUs can last for a long time, and games are always being released that cater towards lower end hardware. I recently uploaded a video going over 7 pretty cool PC games coming in August 2018, and I literally think that Monster Hunter World was the only game that is taxing to PC hardware. Yakuza 0 is on there, but Yakuza 0's minimum requirement is a GTX 560. It's not like that game is hard to run, so yes, if you have a lower end hardware, the only game you're locked out of next month is Monster Hunter World. You're gonna have Yakuza 0, you're gonna have great games like State of Mind, Death's Gambit. There's so many great games that aren't hard to run, and that pool of great games that aren't hard to run is growing so much faster than the pool of great games that are hard to run. So I feel like I got my point across in this video. It's just that for those of you that are getting into PC gaming and you just want a lot of great games, don't worry about all of the videos I upload bitching about 60 frames per second. I've always said in the past, it's best to stay ignorant from 60 frames per second. If you can stay in a world where you never experience 60 FPS, that is the best world, because you're just gonna be okay with 30 FPS, and ignorance is bliss sometimes. But I'm not gonna get into that right now. I've talked about that in the past, and it's actually a little funny, so maybe I'll revisit that story sometime in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I plan on making more videos like this and making more videos that are catered geared towards newcomers of PC gaming, and of course, you will see the traditional content as always on this channel. There's probably a part 2 I could do to this video because there's just so much to cover, but I'll end it here. If you guys have a request for any similar videos in the future, as always, you can leave that in the comments section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.